All
everyone.
right. Hey there.
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Caffeinated Quality. Um, we are coming together. This is the first time we're all reconnecting after the cast in Salt Lake City in August. So we're all rejoining, and hopefully we'll have a few more people join us over the next few minutes. But um, yeah, we wanted to do a recap of Cast 2025, and I hope you guys got to listen to a whole lot more than I did, because I was busy running around, and I don't know that my brain could have absorbed any. So I'm really relying on you guys to be able to share all your knowledge. I can give you my perspective on things, but I have not had the opportunity to go back and watch all of the videos yet. So anyway, um, I have three of our amazing speakers tonight: Scott Allman, Hung Nguyen, and Blake Hill. So welcome to Caffeinated Quality, all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
Have
Thank
you-
you.
for having
Have
me.
you all recovered? I think is probably the first question.
Of course.
Yeah,
It was a month ago or
Yes.
more.
you would hope, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, why don't?
I
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I did get a chance to stop, spend a few days at the Zion National Park. So that was wonderful. And now I'm
Awesome.
in Asia now. So yeah, so
Ah,
it's all good. Yeah.
how was it? How was Zion's?
It was fantastic. It was
Good.
fantastic, and especially with the angel landing thing, which I didn't do it. I only got to, the scout lookout, and then it's too scary. But it was a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Good. Yeah, I've done that hike once, and that was enough for me. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's scary up there.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Did Scott, Blake, did you guys get to go out and tour at all? Get to see any of the city?
I spent a lot of time. I think I just told you. I spent a lot of time trying to get up super early and going on some of the walks, at least that were. There's that. I don't know the name of the river that runs through the city.
Oh, yeah, Jordan Parkway.
Yeah, and so there's bike paths everywhere there, and that place is it's beautiful. I was very impressed with Salt Lake. I thought it was amazing. I'd never been there before, so getting to walk along that river is like in the mornings, no humidity. It was dead calm. It's just beautiful. It was beautiful. It was very relaxing. It was a great way to start the day. I was thinking, geez, wouldn't this be nice to start every day like this? Geez,
Right?
I mean, it was great. So that alone, and I didn't even get to go up into the mountains, but I'm going to go back. I already told my wife, I said, I found a place we need to go. And I was like,
Awesome.
it was a great venue. So thanks for having it there. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it ended up being perfect. I was thrilled to be hosted by Zions, and for them to be so kind in opening up that space. It's such a gorgeous space. They built it in 2022, and it was a massive improvement, because they used to have all of their employees spread all over the valley in different buildings, and so being able to have one place where everybody's there, you don't have to drive anywhere to have meetings. It's so much nicer. So, and they really did it right. It's a very thoughtful, like the design, the architecture, so much about it. So I love it.
Yeah, after the conference, I had an appointment to meet with some people at the Genealogy Museum, and I had some artifacts that they were interested in. So we met and we spent about 4 hours together going through what I had and how to get it in a format to get it to them. In a nutshell, in 1890s, a relative of mine sent a letter to every family member he knew saying, "Tell me about your stuff." And when they wrote back, he put it into journals. So he'd get a letter back, he'd copy it in, he did. So I have hundreds of pages of this guy's handwriting with stories.
Nice.
And so I wrote a Python program using Google libraries to convert the handwriting to digital text. And then, of course, once it's digital text, you can search for people names, certain themes and stories. So I've got a commitment by the end of the year to get them all that.
That's cool.
And as soon as I got back to Colorado, I went camping for a couple weeks.
Well, that's not a bad thing. You got to enjoy that weather while it's warm.
Yeah, and the aspen were starting to change colors. And yes, Gwen, and Hung, I have walked Angel's Landing, but I'm not so sure I'll do it again. But
Yeah.
I have done that.
Yeah.
So what my takeaway from Cast, in a nutshell, were two things I got from Hung in his session. He did this demo on how to use Goose to do end-to-end software test creation and execution. He did it in Java and Selenium on a website he's got. And so I've been converting it to Python and Playwright because those are the tools I use. And I'm getting there, but I'm not done. And the second was a class he's got on AI. I had no idea how clueless I was. I went through all the terms in the first part of the class, and it's like, oh, yeah, so that's what's going on. And then he's got a second class. Second part was about how do you test systems that are architected with an AI model as their central part. Again, I was completely clueless. So right now I'm talking to a local company that sells an AI product, and I'm pretending to understand all the metrics and steps in his notes. And hopefully they won't call me on it too much, and still they'll just let me get in there and start doing these things.
Yeah.
But it's such an exciting time to be in software testing. I got to be on this bandwagon, Gwen. I'm not going to miss this one.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so I probably owe a whole bunch of emails to Hung to tell him what I'm up to. And maybe,
Thank you, Scott.
pinch a few more minutes of his time because he's been most generous so far. But it's going to be next week till I can get to that.
That's all good. That's
Yeah,
all. So you were able to visit Hung's sessions. What other sessions were you able to get to?
Oh boy, I went to several, and I took good notes. But right now, I'm having a wee bit of a geezer moment. I could go to my notes and give you a full list of the sessions. Why don't I do that? Because I'm going to butcher it if I try to pull it out of memory.
Oh, that's okay. We'll put someone else on the spot. Hung, Matt, what were your favorite sessions that you got to attend?
So for me, I thought I'm very bad at names and memories. But what is his name that he was filling in for Jonathan?
John. It was Matthew. Matthew Alexander.
No.
Or Carlos.
Carlos. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that I enjoyed both sessions that Carlos did, and I kind of I'm still a student of how to kind of how to take this AI and apply to the workflow, and that's been very challenging because things are moving very rapidly, And from the developer space, it's just so much things coming out, with codecs and release, and Cursor has been around for a while, and just trying to figure out how that would fit in for people like us doing testing, right? We don't typically have an IDE, so where would that everything fits in? How do you plug all of this technology in? Beside the fact that testing AI models very different from testing software, and figuring out how to get all of this agent technology, into the workflow, because you have, take a goose example that I picked Selenium, but, if I picked, Playwright just for an example, then it's probably, it goes smoother, better, and as having even more support. And just that's just an example, right? So
Yeah.
I enjoy Carlos' session, the both session you were talking about, because he probably has been working for years now in terms of in this understanding of doing and adapting how AI, the engineering pipeline from development, to testing and so on and so forth. So those are the highlights.
Yeah. He has. He's done
But
some
I have
really,
to say,
really cool things.
Yeah, and my hat's off to you when you
Did I
and your
leave?
team done an amazing job in hosting and organizing the conference. Beside the fact that the big picture is Zion Park is amazing, and Salt Lake City, the food there is amazing. So thank you again for having me. Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. We had it was great having you guys. It was I was thrilled with how it all turned out. It's one of those things that you never know what's going to happen until you get there, and thankfully it worked out. So I'm sharing a few pictures from the event here. Just
Wonderful.
a few. Actually, maybe I'll just share some. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Hung. It is a labor of love for sure. It's one of those things that you hope is going to go off without a hitch, and for the most part it really did.
Right.
I think we learned some stuff. So
Yeah.
I definitely took away a lot of oh, we want to try this next time, or we want to do this better next time. But it's
Right.
it was also one of those things where I think one of the cool things about this community is that I don't have to worry about it, because we show up and everybody just starts doing what they do best, and they know the format enough that they know how to okay, stop. They know how to see. I don't want to share this window. There we go. Oh, wow. Oh wow! Stop.
What happened?
Gwen, I gotta go rescue my wife. Thanks for having this. But I gotta go.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Why is this doing this? My computer is wigging out as I'm trying to share.
I kind of liked the infinite cascade. You could kind of like you could be your own wave.
Yeah. It got really matrixy there for a second. Okay, let's see here.
While you're figuring that out, I'll answer for highlights back to that question. And maybe this is a bit of a cop out, but lunch. and not for the reason that you think, although I do love food, but really just all the opportunities to meet lots of people in the community.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I love about conferences and the conference space in general is just getting to meet lots of other practitioners, people who do what we do, who are in our industry. If you go to parties as a software, as a person in software, usually it's a real, like, people ask you what you do and you just go like, I'm in software, and you leave it at that.
Right.
Because you can't, like, there's so much context to go deeper than that. And so to actually be with like people who understand that context and to be able to go beyond the surface level and connect with people in our industry
Oh, for
is
sure.
is a real treat. And not even just about the industry. Like, I think the speaker dinner, I learned more about Ren fairs than I ever had before, talking to that guy. And it's just great to meet the kind of people that come together at conferences like this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was blown away. Like, and you're right. Like, it's not even just conversations around quality. It's just the conversations of connecting with and getting to know people and what they're into and the types of things that they're excited about. It's a I do, it's weird. Like, we go back and forth in terms of trying to figure out how to kind of reinvent cast over the years, because I think it's worth questioning whether it's effective and whether it's a good use of everybody's time, right? I mean, if you're going to put on an event like that and you're going to put the work into it, I think it's really important to make sure that you're putting on the kind of event that is going to add value to the community. And I don't know why I ever doubt it, because every time we come together, it just blows my mind. It's such an incredible experience, and it's a good reminder of just how important events like these are, and how unique cast actually is. Because I don't know, like, there are other conferences, and right now especially there are so many conferences in this space now all over the world, and I don't know that there's any of them that really kind of touch what cast has. At least I haven't experienced it. I've gone to a few of them, and the ones that are put on that are commercial, I haven't had good experiences with those, I think. And then ones that are put on by a single vendor, like, end up being, they just end up being so focused on one path, as opposed to being, kind of tool agnostic and company agnostic and domain agnostic. So I do think it is unique, and it is kind of this mashup. I mean, it's funny. I'm actually trying to find the picture right now, because we actually, I think one of the things, there were a couple things that stood out to me that people loved, and it was the games, like the game night, where everybody kind of brought board games, and it actually, we were going to turn it into a hackathon, but then completely decided against it, because by the time everybody got there, they were exhausted, and they just wanted to hang out and enjoy one another's company and play logic games, right? And so some of, it was card games, and it was some of the puzzle games that tend to go around our community, and so even in those moments, it's like we get to kind of challenge one another and pick each other's brains on different topics. Matt, did you get a chance to really dig into any of the other sessions?
So it's funny. There's another reason why my answer is also kind of a cop out, and it's because I was breaking up with my co-founder during the conference, so
no.
I was a little distracted.
Yeah.
But the second day I caught quite a few more, and actually, so Hung, the session that you mentioned, Carlos, that one I loved. Of course, the topic that I was there to speak on, the panel that we talked about, was centered around AI.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated Carlos's, it was really just kind of a crash course in, this is AI, this is how it works, these are some of the moving pieces. And I thought it was very well done, really well organized, and very approachable, which can be difficult to do with material like that.
Yeah. Yep, it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it. I think, so I actually got to see that presentation. He did it at a smaller get together kind of meetup locally, and so I had gotten to see that one at another event. And so yeah, it was when he offered to do it last second, I was like, yes, bring it, because it was just, I think it was a perfect way to round out our AI content. Because we had some really heavy ones with, with Hung, your half day session, that was really a deep dive into some of these tools. And then, we had some lighter ones like yours, Matt, in terms of the, the more theoretical ones, and the ones that were really kind of a highlight of lessons learned and failures in working with AI, and overcoming that. I'm, to be honest with you, I'm really hoping that next year we were able to like plan ahead of time and make that actually happen, as the Black Mirror AI testing session, because I love the concept. So I'm in. If you'll have me next year, I am in for that.
Sounds good. We should connect then on what it would take to get your avatar rolling.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what's funny? So I was able to get a couple of avatars running, even ahead of the event, even ahead of that day. I just wasn't comfortable enough to share it on stage. so, so I was really glad that Michael was willing to share his.
Yeah, and I think honestly I appreciate it, and I hope the audience did too. Just having a chance to, like, as cool as the Black Mirror panel and that concept would have been, and to have it executed the way that we'd originally planned. I also just really appreciated being able to sit down and have a chat with people about AI.
Of course,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
No, it was fantastic. What were your biggest takeaways from the event? Like, did you have any moments where you were like, oh yeah, that needs to be a massive focus? Or were there any moments where you felt like a message actually didn't hit the mark and that we needed to kind of dig into that more? I think I heard mumblings of a couple of moments like that. I know for me, one of the things that I got feedback on was around having the sessions be much more experience based, in terms of having them be actual case studies, or having them be experience reports on whatever problem it was. And I actually got two ranges of feedback in that regard. I think one was that one was, hey, let's we need to have more experience shared, as opposed to it just being a teaching session, right? And then the opposite side of that was people wanted sessions where they were actually solving a problem, right? So it was, and I think Olivia's was like her session, her workshop was meant to be that. So I'm really sad she wasn't able to do it. We're going to end up trying to do that virtually with her in the next couple months. So I'm excited for that, because I think, taking her models and applying it to the quality space is just a natural fit anyway. But it'll be cool to kind of pull people together to kind of work through that and kind of share some of the challenges with that, and like, how to actually make those connections, and in a way that can be used in an everyday setting, right? Talking about, ethical and responsible AI.
Yeah, I
I
thought
think
Coolest had a really good one too, like where he was giving some actual hands-on on how he was using AI for testing. And it was he was doing it in real time. So he was giving actual examples and actually doing it. I thought that was really cool. Milan had I really liked what he had to say. We had some similar ideation on some things. So I liked his a lot. Damien's on, AI with the whole trust but verify.
Yeah.
Those were three that, I attended all three and I got something out of each one. So, just depending on what you're looking for. Right. So I thought they were good.
That's great.
I think this is going to be a weird answer. I apologize, but I'll explain it. Hopefully, it makes more sense. I appreciated the opportunity to pull my head out of my own ass. Like it can be really. All right, to try and explain that, like, for somebody that is maybe has been in the field for a while, has been in the industry for a while, it's really easy sometimes to go to sessions and be like, I already know this, and to sort of like, and it's not helpful, it's not constructive. And
Yeah.
I think it's a reminder though, because like the thing that's humbling about it is a reminder that like, hey, the people that the community here is made up of people at all stages of their career, and there is value in having content for everyone
Yeah.
at conferences like this. And so there may well have been many sessions that to me were sort of like, yeah, this makes total sense, I already knew this. And so maybe for me personally it didn't hold a ton of value, but to still appreciate that you still need that content, because there's a lot of people in different stages of their career for whom this might be the first time they're hearing these things, and it can be transformative for them. And it's really important to still be there and support the community in those stages, even if that's not where you are as an individual practitioner.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and what's interesting is, if we're doing tests right, the whole idea is to have those who are more experienced kind of step up and share that experience in that context, right? And so, become a part of the conversation so that it's not just one voice in the room. It ends up being more of a discussion, and people start kind of problem solving back and forth on different scenarios. And so hopefully some of that happened in the sessions. I know that's what we always strive for with cast, and sometimes every session is different, right? Every speaker is different, every presentation, every topic is different. And so, some of them I think are more conducive to what you're talking about, like as far as like, where you're kind of coming in and you've got that very level of experience on whatever it is, kind of sharing their own personal perspectives. I think that's one thing that in the future I really want to kind of hone in on, is how do we get more of the debates happening, right? I mean, like, I really wanted to hear more back and forth around how we approach the AI problem, and how people are using AI just in their everyday, because we're all using it, right? Like, most of us are using it every single day, and we're finding value in it, right? It's just not in the ways that maybe we're used to thinking, right? Like, maybe it's not going out there and doing our testing for us, but maybe it's helping us come up with better test cases. Maybe it's helping us kind of frame things in a way, or consider perspectives within a particular domain that actually challenge our own limitations and kind of help get past our own bias, right? So I know for me, that's how it is. And I was hoping to hear more debate on it. I think, it's always one of those things where we're coming back new, and I think it's been a while since everybody. So hopefully, as we kind of get these things happening more regularly, we'll start seeing that dynamic come back into it, because I think those are the moments I think that challenge me the most and push me to grow, is those moments when I get called out on something, right? When people are like, well, what do you mean? Like, here's the problem with that, right? So I don't know. I happen to enjoy those moments. Maybe not everybody, but I think
So
Don's trying to join here. Don, are you able to get on? Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
there
here.
she is. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, so for cast 2026, we should expect a debate session, just an all-out brawl format?
I wanted to do a formal debate. That was one of the ideas that I had, and we didn't end up doing it. But I wanted to have. I actually wanted to demonstrate healthy debate and help people understand how to do that in a positive way.
So, as somebody who actually in college took formal debate, and did the whole like stand up and do Lincoln Douglas format, is that like are you actually going to go that far, or like what do you have planned?
I'm open to ideas. How about that?
Cool.
So I mean, look, those of us who attend these conferences, there's always the AI debate, right?
Yeah.
How useful AI is in the quality space and whether it's responsible to be utilizing it for testing. And you have the two camps, right? You've got the AI bros who are 100%, 150%, and you see it all the time, right? Like there is unhealthy debate happening, I think, all the time online. In my personal perspective on that. But I do, I think what you see is a lot of shutting down, right? And I think one of the things we've got to come back to, and it is a key skill for testers and for quality professionals who are leading and trying to, bring new ideas to the table, is being able to actually have an argument and to counter arguments, right? And to present different things in a way that is not emotionally charged. Sometimes we're not great about that in this community because we get really passionate about it, and so I think there's value to that. So I don't know. We've talked about it. I think we'd have to have the right people involved. So you never know.
It's interesting because I think almost every conference I've been to and every conference series I've been to, kind of regardless of theme in the software space, there have almost always been some speakers that talk about soft skills, about communication, about how to have those sorts of arguments. And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because it really is like, whether you're in quality, whether you're in you could go to a conference for database administrators, for systems administrators, DevOps, for front end only, and it's just kind of like, no matter where you are, that skill set is still something that like everybody needs, and everybody to some degree is kind of struggling with, especially in the organizations that we're a part of, which tend to like that. There aren't very many organizations, like I'll go ahead and go out on a limb here and say that there aren't very many organizations that are great at that. And so it's something that is sort of a universal need. And making space for that in this conference, I think would be great.
Yeah, we'll see if we can make it happen. I really want to. I'm willing to kind of put the moderation in place if we need to pull people off the stage. No, I'm just kidding.
You need a sniper with a trank gun.
Right. All right.
That one's out.
Cut off. Yes.
Yeah, I thought that there was a lunch session, and I remember it was I think it's a lightning talk, something like that, and there was this young gentleman. He's a musician, and he was talking about how software testing transformed his life, and it was like if you remember that he talked about AST, and he talked about like he was having a difficult time in at some point of his life, and then software testing really transforming where he was doing, and I was like, wait, I felt like, are we in church on a Sunday morning or something? But it was really touching, and it feels like very, very real, and it's very community feel of how software testing and how it impact people, particularly in this case he himself. So that was an honest sharing, and I that was touching. I like that a lot.
I did too.
And
I caught that one, and I can't remember the guy's name, but his lightning talk was on "I Shouldn't Be Here," was the title of it.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm within the first 10 seconds of him talking, I was bawling. So, but that's not news for me. That's just me. But yeah, I was actually blown away by the lightning talks. They not only were they incredibly popular, I was shocked that we had as many individuals kind of sign up and want to be a part of that. I thought they were fantastic. Yeah, Eric Davis's one on the way that his mind works was fascinating. And I'm really, really hoping that he will he'll come back and do a full session on that and kind of his approach to testing. Because I thought that was really fascinating. The fact that he doesn't visualize in his brain, right? Like he doesn't have the ability to kind of visualize anything. And so that's been kind of something he's had to become aware of, right? Because he didn't realize that, like, for a long time he didn't realize that it was different, like that his brain actually processed things differently. And so he has found ways over the years to kind of make that work for him and to utilize other tools to kind of help do the visualization for him. And it also explains like just his processing, right? Like even in talking with him. So I found it fascinating. There were a lot of, I think it was very vulnerable, which is always good, I think, because that just makes it more approachable. But also, I mean, very insightful. Thanks, Blake, for joining us. I think he just dropped. Dawn, new to the conversation. You as the amazing front desk woman for the entire conference, what did you? I want you to share a little bit about what your experience is at these things. Because I think you get a unique experience interacting with our attendees in ways that most people do not.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get some back channel stuff. I also get to see the traffic in the hallways when sessions are going on. And to be honest, at this, I wasn't in the perfect location to spy on everybody. I couldn't see the door of every room, but I can tell you that there were very few people hanging out, having, private and personal, or business related conversations outside of sessions. Yeah. Which just tells me that the sessions were really engaging. And even we had very little of that during the lunch as well. Lunches were engaging because we had lightning talks and people were really doing the networking. I think part of that was how the plenary session room was set up in rounds so that people could talk. And people did. I didn't see a lot of people scurry away to try and, find some corner to talk in. And that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions about the lightning talk. So it was just interesting to see how many people were willing to share or were just curious about it. I think the other thing that I noticed, of course, I couldn't listen to a lot of sessions. I could listen to the ones that were right behind my head. I could listen to that. But people were talking about sessions as they were walking by. They were having extended conversations about, what they had talked about or what they'd learned or what they'd seen. And we always like that when the conversation doesn't stop. Right. That's a sign that you've hooked them, right? You've gotten their interest. They're trying to figure out how to apply it. They're sharing ideas. They're noodling it. That just means we hit the sweet spot on, a lot of things. And one of those topics was, the session that I did, because there's so many people who are looking for work or know someone that's looking for work. And, I got people, asking me for more ideas, copies of slides, and copies of presentation materials and things like that. So the fact that people were interested in following up really means we struck a chord.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, I think people were challenged to a certain extent. I know, I think one of my personal goals with this cast was to get people challenging their own space and challenging complacency, right? Because
Yeah.
I think one of the things that plagues us right now, and it is frankly really making it. I think it's impacting this community pretty heavily. When you hear about people laying off entire quality teams.
Right.
Now, I mean, we've seen that happen before, right? Like
Sure.
this is kind of an ebb and flow thing, but what it tells me is that we're still not having the right conversations about the value add that quality brings. And in some cases, teams aren't adding the value that they need to be adding.
Sometimes not. Sometimes not, and not willing to be flexible enough, curious enough to learn the next thing, challenge themselves. I mean, look, we all get to a point in our career where we want to ride it out. We learn some stuff. We want to just take that as far as we can go. I get it, but I'll tell you, this industry is not in that mode right now. You will not survive if that's your tactic. So, you could find a company, go work for the government, go work for the IRS, and then retire in 5 years. You could do that.
Well, and I think it's funny. I don't care who you are, what technology role you're in. The idea that you are just able to use the same skills day in and day out and not learn anything new, I think it's just such a detrimental
mindset.
Yeah. Like it's and yet so many are stuck there. And so that's a problem I want to solve. I'm open. I want to know how to solve it because I've seen it at every company I've worked for. And lighting that fire and getting people to recognize that, it's the whole concept of, well, I add value even though I'm not technical because I understand the flow of the application, and I know this application and I know the business. And it's like, well, all of those things are good, right? Like no one is diminishing the value of understanding the business problems, and all of that is fantastic context to have and really, really valuable experience to kind of drive your quality perspective. However, it's not enough to get you to quality. Like you have to be able to understand the technologies you're working with.
As they're morphing and changing. And I mean, we're upping the ante everywhere. Even if you worked for the same company and in the same, let's say, domain, product line, things like that, banking, insurance, whatever it is. Not only is the technology stack changing, development methodologies are changing. I think the program did a great job this year of helping people understand how AI can influence the work that we do and the domains that we're in. And so hopefully that was revealing to some people if they hadn't made that, or hadn't gained that awareness yet. But also their customer bases are evolving.
Yeah.
Their competitive landscapes are evolving. Their, software delivery methods are evolving. So I don't know how you could actually expect to be in this industry at all, in any facet of it, and expect to stand still. That doesn't seem right. But yet I do see people lean on, maybe the earliest things that they've learned or the things that they've used the most. And I think that's natural, right, to let that happen. But I think you know, kind of struck a chord there that if we can provoke people to think about what is swirling around them and changing and like wake up and start jumping on the bus and say, I need to move with this, not let it get too far ahead of me, which I think could be a challenge for some people, a lot of people in our industry, actually.
Well, and I do think there is something to be said about raising the bar, right? Like it is. I'm trying to think about the best way to put this. So it's one of those things where, you know, I've coached teams for going on 2 decades now. And I think one of the things that I've always tried to coach in terms of personal career development and growth is the concept that you need to find the path that's right for you, and you need to find the path that's your place, right? And it plays on your strengths. And so when I meet testers who are clearly not in it, right, like who are doing it for money, who are, you know, doing it because someone said, hey, you know, you did really well on this project, you should be a tester, right? And it was kind of that, like, let's just throw them in. And there are those, don't get me wrong, I mean, some of my best testers have come from that scenario, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
However, there are definitely people who just don't find the passion that some of us find in this space, right? I mean, they're not, that this is not their passion, right? And so
and if you're not on fire for this stuff, I don't think you should be doing it. I really don't.
Exactly. Like, if there's anything that you need that drive and you need that focus and you need that critical eye and really the ability to challenge your own thinking, like, it's this.
For sure.
So, and not everybody is up for that, and that's okay, right?
Like, oh no, it's exhausting.
and it's like, I just want to tell people, like, let it go. Like, just move on to something that is going to be a better fit for you.
I've coached tons of people to do that.
Yeah.
You know, exactly that, because they're struggling. They're not happy. Their teams aren't happy with them. For some reason, they think they can make it work. And I'm like, really? Trust me, there is something that will, you know, light you on fire and make you want to come to work every day and do the things. Find those things. Don't force this.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And then there's those who, you know, aren't quite sure yet, right? And that's too. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I do think it is a competency too that managers need to be held to. Like don't people on your team who aren't getting it, right? Like, help them grow. Maybe we do sessions entirely on that as part of next class. Is
I like that.
How to help people, you know, actually find and even if that's outside of QA, right? Even if it's not as a tester, that's okay. There are plenty of other communities out there, you know, that are just as passionate for different things.
Sure.
Okay. Well, you know, we're kind of coming to time now. I'd love to kind of just round robin and get a perspective on what you would like to see at the next cast. You know, what are some challenges you would share with us and with our community for the next cast?
I'll go ahead and I'll bite and go first. I think the thing that swims around in my head the most, and maybe this will sound controversial, or maybe I don't know, but I come to this place where I feel like our entire industry is converging, where the different flavors of participants and participation are blending more and more, and there's more and more overlap in what we do.
Yes.
I think that is a natural tendency based on the trajectory of technology and automation, of which, of course, AI is a huge boost. So I guess one of the sort of questions that resounds in my mind over and over is, for a community that identifies as testers, what does a future look like where testing is more and more, is less and less of an identity and more a part, an integral part of what you do, but maybe not the sole thing you do? And how does the community adapt to sort of meet a future like that?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good thing to bring up, because you're right. There is a lot more overlap. The areas between functions are graying significantly. I like that. Okay, that's a good takeaway. We'll have to think on that and figure out how to bring that into the next event, because I like where you're going with it. And
I
maybe it's cross discipline. Go ahead.
I have a slightly different thought about that, especially when the dog is barking, right? And I think that a year from now, AST, a year from now, and we are in the AI year, which is like a dog year. It's a lot of things changing, okay, in a year. So my thinking is, I would like to see if we as a community, although you are doing it more, but AST as a community, to have a continuous learning program that doing some training into how to incorporate AI into our daily testing time, and getting our training materials more, into the AI, so that a year from now we have more things to talk about. If we wait from now until the next year, it just I'm just like, a lot of things going to happen. Yeah.
You're right. No, I think you bring up a very, very strong point. So, and I think it's a good time to kind of bring up the fact that we do have a brand new board that we elected in at the end of CAST. We're very excited to have some fresh perspectives, fresh energy. In fact, not only do we have a new board, but we have a board advisory committee that we've introduced for those who applied for the board and didn't get voted, and we still want them to participate as leaders in the community. And so right now we're in the process of planning and coming up with strategies for 2026. And Hung, to your point, that's a big one. Is what are the types of resources that we need to make available to this community? And so I expect we will be having a whole lot more conversation on that in the months and in the year to come and onward, right? Because you're right, things are just moving too quickly, and we don't have the luxury of waiting a year
No,
to
no.
upskill.
Yeah.
So awesome, Dawn. Any parting thoughts from your end?
I'd like to follow on. I think it was Matt, right? Everybody's name is microscopic on my phone, so I can't see. I'm like, that looks like his little tiny picture, little tiny head, and sounds like his voice. I just want to make sure. I did a keynote a bunch of years ago about kind of what does it mean to shift into this agile space, to really be agile, and what does it mean to us as that tester role and function. And I talked in there about going through this sort of identity crisis. Like, I had this role, I had this job, I was hired to do this, and now I don't get to do any of those things because now the developers do that and other people do that, or I'm in DevOps or whatever the heck. So we're learning how to adapt to that whole situation. But I think to see sessions that might be working sessions that would provide people experiences and skill build around sharing activities related to testing. Like, hey, let's do a code review. and pair each, tester up with a developer, or do like a crowdsourced code review, have a one developer in the room and a bunch of testers. And, that way everybody just kind of gets to experience that without being afraid of it, without being embarrassed on the job, and losing face and credibility. Doing other types of review and getting braver with our feedback and less emotional, and be taking care not to blame and throw people under a bus, and just actually get to work through some of those things, and maybe have some sessions that directly focus on coaching. So if I was trying to do some cross training within an agile team about sharing some testing skills that I have, what would that look like if I was pairing with a developer? What would that look like if I was pairing with a product owner? What would that look like if I was pairing with a specialist tester, or I'm the specialist and I'm trying to train a general tester, right? How do I hone those skills and get more comfortable with sharing the work instead of owning the work? And so I think you need to have an experience to build on. Otherwise, people just, I don't know, people are funny. We're all funny. We want our job. We want our paycheck. I get that. And if, somebody says, well, we're all responsible for testing, you're like, what's going to happen if you're all doing my job? What's left for me to do? So I think if we could, craft some experiential workshops that really give people exposure and ideas, just ideas. So if we had some experience reports where people could bring in, what they've done, and, either demonstrate that, explain that, talk up the methodology and the, benefits, pros, cons, challenges, all of those things, that would be useful. But I'd like to see workshops or, hands-on experiential stuff so that people could walk away enabled and confident.
I
love it. And Gwen, if you need volunteers for people to have their code picked apart in public, I'm happy to do that.
We have a guinea pig. I love you, Matt.
Yeah, no, I write terrible code for a living. I might as well have people tear it apart. It's great.
Good times.
Well, thank you all for joining me tonight. I know this year was an incredible experience from start to finish. I learned so much, even just putting it together. And I learned so much from you guys every day, just in our interactions and getting to know you and supporting this community. So thank you all. Definitely looking forward to our next cast. We are in the process right now of deciding the locations and the dates on that. So we should have that in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be sharing that with the community. And of course, opening that up as soon as we can to start getting proposals. So think about what we have talked about tonight. And for those of you listening, we want to hear you guys submit your ideas for cast and bring some proposals to the table for some of the stuff that we talked about tonight. So thank you all. Have a great rest of your week. And thanks to the rest of you for joining us on Caffeinated Quality, and we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Thanks
all.
so much.